Guys, got a very interesting scooter here, more than one way. Almost just as interesting on a philosophical level as it is just on a scooter level. This brand is Unagi, and they are trying to put the "oo" back in Unagi. Alright guys, if you're new to this channel, I'm Johnny Nerd Out. I build custom e-bikes, and you guys are like, what do you have to do with scooters, man? You're the e-bike guy. Well, I've repaired scooters as well. I've worked on scooters, I've ridden plenty of scooters, and I've repaired more scooters than I wish I have in my life. If you've ever worked on a scooter, repaired them, dug into these things, you'll know that they're not fun to do. So, I do have a background in scooters. I do know what I'm talking about. This is an interesting scooter. I'm gonna go into this, I'm gonna review it, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on it. You're gonna find out whether or not this bike is for you, hopefully by the end of this video. Now this is an interesting scooter because there's two different ways you could do with this. You could buy it outright, it's about $1,000, it's like 990 bucks. Or they have this thing where you could rent it. It's not even like, you don't even rent it, it's like a rental, but it's a subscription, they call it. So you could subscribe to this. So what does that mean? It means like if your wheels ever break, if something breaks on this, the battery conks out, the motors conk out, they ship it back to them and they ship you a new one and you just keep going. So that's interesting. And you got to decide whether or not you'd be interested in that. But let's go into this. I'm going to do an overview front to back on the scooter. What I think is interesting about it, some things that I like, some things I don't. First of all, like this is a very well-designed scooter. Go on their website, Unagi, I think it's Unagi Scooters or unagi.com. You could go into the really details on, the craftsmanship on this. I think it's like a magnesium handlebar setup here and carbon fiber stem here and like a unibody deck here. A lot of things, and there's like engine braking, motor braking. I think it's like regen on your brake lever. And then you could also manually brake on here. A lot of the cool little things on this. So it's nice and easy. There's one like that, it snaps in. You do it one down again, and it snaps back into place. Super easy. It has a built-in headlight here. It's got a very simple display up here. There's a little button here and a toggle switch here. Same thing on both. This is your throttle, this is your brake. And they both have, you have to start at like 2 miles an hour for this to engage, like on all scooters. And then there's two little buttons here and your power button here. And between this, you could change between your power levels, your dual motor. This is a dual motor. You can either run it on single motor or dual motor. If you're hill climbing, use dual motor. If you're going for long range, use single motor. And when you do hit the brake here, that rear tail light blinks to let people know that you're braking. Top speed on this is rated at 15.5 miles per hour, which is what I got. It was toggling between 15, 16 miles per hour. It doesn't have pneumatic tires. These are solid tires. There's a trade-off. There's definitely a trade-off with having these tires versus air-filled, tube and tire type. Those types are definitely more smoother. You could jump it off of curbs and stuff and you're not gonna feel as much road imperfections. These ones, you definitely feel a lot more road imperfections. The good thing about this is you don't have to worry about flat tires. I saw glass on the road, I just went right over it, didn't have to worry about it. But it's a trade-off between a rougher ride or having the peace of mind that you're not gonna be stranded anywhere. Personally, I'd probably go with not being stranded somewhere, but that's something you're gonna have to decide. These are dual motors, each one is 250 watts. I guess at peak, it'll do 400 watts per motor, which is 800 peak total, 26 Newton meters of torque. I didn't have really any problems climbing hills on this. I did take it off-road, I'll show you here, to do the widow climber that I test all my e-bikes on, and this one did not stand a chance, but I didn't expect it to. So I did take it on a really steep hill that I have right near there, and it got up there no problem, no problem. I think it went about 7 or 8 miles per hour up it. So, it did struggle, but it still got me up there, which at the end of the day, that's what I want. The feeling of the scooter, it felt fine. For a 15-mile-an-hour scooter, it felt fine. I don't know if I'd want it to go much faster, especially with these hard tires. If they're air-filled, you know, it'd be a little bit better. The trade-off with this, I noticed with this handlebar setup, which is really, you know, space age technology, it's not adjustable. That's the one thing that I was like, man, I wish it came up a little bit higher, or, you know, for different size riders, I'd like it to be adjustable. It's not adjustable, but it's a trade-off. It's all super nice, super cutting edge. Claimed range is 7 to 12 miles, which I would probably say that's about probably going to be pretty fair. I think I took it for about 2 or 3 miles. Still shows 4 out of 5 bars. For a scooter, yeah, I'd say it's a pretty decent scooter. I've ridden some crappy ones. I've ridden some really nice ones. This one is more on the side of the nicer one. It's definitely not a crappy one. I know a lot of people, they buy stuff off of Amazon and they have no idea what they're getting, and you get on it and you're like, this is garbage. This is not garbage. Now, to decide if you are interested in this, is this fitting your, you know, if you're like, okay, I think I like this one. Trying to decide whether you want to buy it outright for $1,000 or rent it. I think it starts at $50 a month, and they have different subscription plans. That's interesting. I've never heard of anybody doing a subscription for any type of micro mobility. Whether, I'm sure people are going to start doing it, like e-bikes, scooters, things like that. I mean, Volvo started doing it with their cars. You don't have to do any maintenance. If something goes wrong on this, you send it back and they send you a new one, which for a lot of people, that makes a lot of sense. Especially with these things, there is wear and tear and things go wrong. And if you want to do maintenance or repairs on these things and you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be very expensive to take it in. So before you gawk at that subscription plan, keep in mind, if you're not comfortable doing your own repairs, it could be worth it in just one repair. In my opinion, for $1,000, I would probably, I don't know, I'd give it like if I had to rate it out of a 10 for value, for $1,000, I'd probably give this like a 7. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good value. It's not like out of the park. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good though. So I don't think you'd be disappointed, as long as, you know, it's running, and even if it doesn't run, you just send it back and you get a new one, and they pay for the shipping both ways, which is kind of interesting. I mean, they got Iggy Pop as their spokesperson, and I don't think he does spokespeople. I don't think he does spokesmanships for many products, but so he's got to like it. If Iggy Pop rides one, what are you doing? That's why I say to myself, like, hey, would Iggy Pop do this? If I'm ever doing something questionable, I always ask, would Iggy Pop do this? So they definitely made a good move by getting Iggy Pop as their spokesperson. So anyways, going back to this, it's nice. I like the design. It's small, it's compact. This would be great to like throw in the trunk of your car. If you're going to airports, or, you know, if you're going to Disneyland or something, I'm sure these are not allowed in either one of those places. So 2 for 2 on terrible references. But if you got to go somewhere where, you know, you need like a 5 to 10 mile range and space is an issue, this could be a pretty cool option for that. If you use it a lot, you might want to look into that subscription. If I use this and I put on like 1,000 miles a month, definitely that subscription would be worth it. If you're somebody who's not going to use it much, I would say buy this one versus subscribing to it if you don't plan on using it a lot. All right, well, hopefully this helped you guys a little bit. If you were looking at this scooter and you were thinking about bringing it into your home and making it part of your family, hopefully this helped answer some questions. Go online, go to Unagi Scooters if you want some more details on, you know, more stats or more information if I left anything out. All right, thanks guys. Go to johnnynerd.com if you need help with your custom e-bikes. You kidding me? Of course I kicked it. Of course I kicked the camera.